Imagine this, you're in the shower, singing along to your favorite song, and everything goes really smoothly. But then, when you sing that same song in front of others, that's where your voice begins to tighten, maybe you feel limited, and it doesn't really sound how you want it to sound. If that is something that you have experienced in the past, then this episode is definitely for you. So, let's dive into it. Hi, and welcome to this new episode. Today, we're going to be talking about a whole range of things. This is going to be a bit of a different episode than normal because it is a story that I want to tell you, a personal story, but also a lesson that I've learned throughout that story. And if you're someone that has sung by yourself and it felt amazing, it felt really good, it sounded amazing as well, and then you share that with someone else, you sing in front of others, and suddenly it doesn't sound as well anymore, then this episode is definitely for you because that's what we're going to be diving into. And my intention with this episode is to give you a tool to overcome this so that you don't have to worry anymore about singing in front of others, being listened to, and then not perform at your best. So that's my intention for today. And this whole idea for today's episode came from a lesson that I had with, a coaching session that I had with a singer that I work with. And this particular singer, she was, since the start of our coaching session, pretty high in emotion. So I felt a lot of stress, I felt a lot of nervousness from her because many things were going on in her life on a personal level. And she had difficulties reaching the high notes. Now, you must know that I've been working with that singer for a few months by that point. And the song that we were working on was a song that we did in the past. So I knew that she could sing this song. I knew that she could sing those high notes because she sang it before. However, the context had changed because during this particular coaching session, she was not her relaxed and happy and peaceful self. She was one block of nerves, she was full of stress, and she obviously wasn't feeling amazing. So that is where I tend to see the mistake that many beginner singers make because that's what she started doing as well. The first thing that we looked at was vocal technique. So oftentimes, vocal technique is kind of like the thing that we fall back on as singers. How many times have you sang a song and then got stuck somewhere? Maybe that is for singing high notes or low notes or whatever it might be, where you get stuck into a song and then you find techniques to help you with that. Maybe you're looking for answers online and you're searching how to sing high notes or techniques to sing more powerfully or breathing during singing, like whatever it might be. Oftentimes, the first thing that we're going to look for as singers when we tend to have that limited voice when singing is vocal technique. Now, interestingly, that did not work with this particular person. And that might not work for you either. So I am challenging you to try something different next time. Next time you experience that limiting voice. So what we've done instead with this person, instead of doing exercises, instead of doing vocal workouts, with this person, we talked. And our conversation was centered around the regulation of the nervous system. What I mean by that, our nervous system has so much influence on our body. I think we've all identified that when we're stressed or when we're nervous or when we're anxious, our body is tensed up as well. I mean, how many people do you know have tensed shoulders because of stress? The same thing happens when we're singing. So if you're singing from a place of stress and anxiety, then there's a good chance that your body will react to that. Your body will react to that, and so it tenses up. And so what's the result when we're singing? We have a tensed sound. We don't want to have that because that causes irritation on the vocal cords and unhealthy voice use. So we don't want to have that. So instead, I worked with her on the mindset side of singing. And we started regulating her nervous system so that we can replace that stress and replace that anxiety with a piece of acceptance and calm and just looseness, being relaxed when singing. And so at first she had to feel that in her body before we could apply that to her singing. So we talked and we looked at what is causing that stress and how can we change perspective. But also we used meditation, we used breathing exercises, we used some mindfulness tools. Those are all things that as singers, we don't really tend to put a lot of attention or focus towards, but they are so impactful. And once we've done that for about 20 minutes, and she was in a very calm state, very different than when we started the coaching session, those high notes, they came super easily. They came by themselves. She did not have to work for them. It flowed. And that's where I want to get you to. That's where you want to get yourself. So here's the lesson that I learned. Oftentimes, as singers, the first thing that we are grasping to when we are experiencing any problems when singing is vocal technique. When truly, my invitation to you is to look at different tools and try and do the inner work. And with inner work, I mean mindset training. I mean meditation. I mean movement. Sometimes movement can do so much to release anything that's stuck in the body. I mean breathing exercises. All those things will help you to release any blockages that you might have and have your sound flow freely. That's the big lesson here. And that's why if you've been part of this world for a little while, you know that I always work from 4 big pillars. And these 4 big pillars together, they form the Sing Yourself to Freedom formula that I use in everything that I do. This is also what we use in the Singing Insiders, which is our membership for passionate singers just like you, where you get to learn all about singing, where you get to have feedback from coaches, where you get to have an amazing community of like-minded singers. That's also the formula we use there. On a side note, if you do want to join the Singing Insiders, enrollment is not always open, but I'll put the link to the waitlist in the description here down below. Click that link, put your name on the waitlist, and then you'll be the first one notified when the doors do open. Anyway, I always work from those 4 pillars. So the first one is mindset. And that's exactly what I'm talking about here. It's that inner freedom that you can experience. This is where we're looking at what are limiting beliefs holding you back? What are some blockages that might be there in your body? How can we release all of that? That's the first pillar. The second pillar is the vocal technique pillar, which is obvious. Then we have creativity, and then we have connection. But so many singers, they tend to spend a lot of time in the vocal technique pillar, when actually sometimes the mindset pillar might be more beneficial. So if you're a member of the Singing Insiders, I want to challenge you and encourage you for this week to spend some time in that mindset pillar. Do the exercises in that mindset pillar and see how that changes how you sing. Just see it as an experiment. Just test it out. What could that internal work mean for you? And let me know the results. Now, if you're not a member of the Singing Insiders, you can still do this. You can use meditation, movement, breathing, and then see how that applies to singing. Now, that being said, little disclaimer, what we've just covered, focusing on the mindset pillar, instead of the vocal technique pillar, this only works when you already have different vocal techniques in your muscle memory. So what I mean by that, with this particular person, we've worked on this song before, so her muscle memory, her muscles, her vocal muscles, they already knew what techniques to put into practice in order to get that result, to get that high note. Her vocal muscles, they knew that because we worked on that before. The problem here was that she was not accessing that because stress and anxiety and nerves were in the way. So yes, it is important to look at the vocal technique as well and get that right way of singing into your muscle memory. Now, to help you with that, I have put together a free training that you can go through. I will link to it in the description here down below as well, where you will discover the most important vocal techniques. And when you can get those vocal techniques into your muscle memory, that's when you get that vocal freedom. Because then you can stop thinking about vocal technique and really focus on that internal work. And that is where, the world is your oyster. That's where we want to go as singers. So, first step is getting those vocal techniques into your muscle memory. I've got a free training to help you with that. Click the link in the description here down below to do that. Second step is to then, once those techniques are in the muscle memory, to let them go and focus on that internal work. Focus on getting that inner freedom as well. And when you do that, my friend, that's where the world is at your feet. That's where you experience that vocal freedom. That's where you experience that flow in singing. That's where you experience that heightened state of happiness. And that's where I want to get you. So your homework is to start with that free training to get those techniques into your muscle memory, and then you can go on to step 2. I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions around this, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm here to help and support you. And I want to thank you so much for having spent this time together. I know that there's many options out there for you to learn how to sing, and you have chosen to be here today. I don't take that lightly, so thank you for that. And please thank yourself as well, because you've taken the time out of your busy day to work on you, and that's not nothing. So thank you so much for being here, and I'm looking forward to see you here again next week. Bye.